Ich hoffe, Sie haben sich gut gestärkt und sind nun bereit für unseren zweiten Teil. Ihr roter Faden ist Positivität. Und wie wichtig es doch ist, Menschen zu treffen. The importance of human connection. Sie ist ein lebensfroher und farbenfroher Mensch, der viele Hüte trägt. Heute zwar nicht, aber trotzdem. Sie ist Mutter von 2 Mädchen, sie ist Ehefrau, sie ist Salsa-Tänzerin und Rednerin auf vielen Bühnen dieser Welt. Sie liebt französisches Essen und sie reist gern an sonnige Plätze. Bitte begrüßen Sie mit mir unseren Chief Happiness Officer, Aurélie Litynski.
Thank you.
Bienvenue, Aurélie.
Merci.
Aurélie, when you enjoy weekends at home, what makes you happy then?
I would say at the moment, my happy weekends, I need 2 things to have a happy weekend. I need to have sun. I need to have a beautiful weather like today, because sun for me is like bringing me a lot of positivity and energy. And as a busy working mom, I need to have kids-free drama. So no drama during the weekend. This makes me happy at the moment. You understand me, right?
I think we all.
Yeah, that's my happy weekend at the moment.
Great. So now we will deep dive and learn then how to lead with more positivity in our new way of working. I'm very
Great.
curious.
Thank you. Thank you. So let me just check for the slides here. Here we go. Isn't it nice to be all together in this room? We even have the choice now to choose, to join from home, from the office, to join virtually, or from the body, maybe for all of you who are watching us, or to come here and actually be with people. That's a great learning from the pandemic, right? And I don't know about you, but I missed meeting people, going to a full day conference, going to networking events, even doing small talk all day long. I missed that a lot. And for many, many years, we took it for granted. We even used to complain about it. But now, in a way, thanks to the pandemic, we do realize the power of being surrounded by people. Let's appreciate even more today this power of being surrounded by people. Because human interaction is one of the main factors of happiness in the workplace. And if you want to lead with more positivity, this is definitely our new way of working. We need to learn, we need to learn to lead with more positivity. Let's speak about that today. My first question to you, are you taking care of your happiness in your private life? Yeah, right? We might have different ways, but for most of us, our happiness is a top priority in life. And I always ask myself, why isn't it a priority in the workplace? Maybe because we tend to forget about it. Maybe because we don't really understand the effect of it. Or maybe because we think it's not really a serious topic to address in companies. Well, the truth is that happiness at work is a serious topic if it's handled correctly. So what do we mean by happiness at work? We know from positive psychology that we have now 20 years of scientific studies to prove that our happiness, our well-being, our positive emotions have a major impact on us and our work. So it's proven. Happy employees are more creative, they are more engaged, they are more motivated, they perform better, they stay longer in the company. The list is quite long. So the correlation between our emotions and our performance is clear. And I don't know about you, but when I have bad days, when I'm frustrated at work, even as a chief happiness officer, I am human, You don't want to be around when I'm frustrated. But when I am frustrated at work, the way I behave and the way I act with other people is completely different than when I feel good. So it's quite clear that our behaviors at work, the way we communicate, the way we lead other people, have a major impact on them and on their work and on their private life. Believe my own experience. I had different levels of frustrations at work. I was once bullied, very difficult time for me. I was once in a toxic environment where I couldn't really speak up. And like, I guess many of us, I was many times in long meetings where at least one or two people were so negative that I started to be negative myself and I couldn't bring my ideas during the meeting, right? So along the years, all of these frustrations, I started to see the impact on myself, on my work, on my health, but as well on my private life. I was bringing these frustrations at home, and I tell you, it was not easy and not the fun part. So we have to pay attention about our behaviors at work. In short, having a positive work environment is a win-win for everyone. It's good for you, it's good for your team, it's good for your colleagues, it's good for your clients, it's good for the whole company, and it's good for all the people around you. Happiness is good for you and the business. We need to realize that much more. But still, happiness nowadays is seen as a cliche and it's not easily addressed in companies. I meet a lot of leaders who tells me like, Aurélie, I cannot speak about happiness within my team. They will laugh at me. They think it's not serious. So they prefer to speak about engagement. But do you really think that your engagement is more important than your happiness? Of course, engagement is important, definitely. But we need to realize that we can be engaged and not happy. And that's really not good for the long term. It can turn into a burnout. So if your people are not feeling good at work, if they are not feeling part of the team, if they have no trust, if they are not feeling well, their engagement won't be sustainable. So we need to create a safe environment where the team's happiness is part of the team's culture. And then indirectly, it will have an impact on their engagement, on their productivity, and on their motivation, and on their performance. So engagement is important, but let's not forget happiness. And maybe you're like me. For a long time, really a long time, I thought that to be happy in my life, to be happy at work, I had to achieve big life goals. But when I studied positive psychology, neuroscience, and happiness in the workplace, I realized a few things. I had quite a lot of aha moments, and this one was an aha moment. Most of the things we think make us happy don't make us as happy as we think. It's a complicated sentence, right? I give you a second. Most of the things we think make us happy don't make us as happy as we think. It's so true. Most of us, we have a tendency to think that having a high salary, having a great job title, receiving a great promotion, or having a lot of benefits from the company will make us happy, more engaged, and more motivated. Of course, it's important. I'm not saying it's not important. It's very important. But once you have a good basis, once you have what you deserve, we know from research that having more will not make you happier in the long term. Because at one point, happiness at work is not what you think about your job, it's mostly on how you feel about your job. So it's not really rational, it's mostly emotional. What you think about your job will have an influence on your career choices, but how you feel will most probably have a better influence on your motivation, on your engagement, and on your performance. But again, we need to have a good basis. After having a good basis, after having a good foundation, having more of money and more of these advantages we get from the company will not make us happier. We need to act on the emotional level. And if we want to be happier at work, if we want to lead with more positivity, we need to act on the emotional level. And if I ask you spontaneously to think about something specific that made you happy at work this week, just do a self-reflection. You don't need to say it out loud. But can you think about something that made you really happy at work this week, that created positive emotions in you? Yeah? When I ask these questions in workshop or in longer keynotes, when we have a bit more time, a lot of people are telling me, Aurélie, it's not so easy for me to think about something specific that made me happy at work this week. When I ask the question, what frustrated you at work, you are sure that, they come with a lot of things. But for the positive, most of us, we need to have a bit more time. it doesn't mean that you don't have positive emotions, but it shows very well what the psychology calls the brain's negativity bias. The brain's negativity bias is that we have a tendency to remember more the negative emotions than the positive ones. And the negativity bias is mostly controlled by the part of our brain called the amygdala. It's situated in our limbic system, so it's a very active part. It sends us a signal whenever something is negative or when there is a threat. It's not your fault, it's our instinctive reaction from human evolution. This is why, at the end of the day, when you come back home and your wife, husband, whoever, your cat, is asking you, honey, how was your day? At the end of the day, you might focus more on the negative and you might complain more than telling all the small good things that happened during the day. That's because of our negativity bias. So one negative comment, one negative experience can shape the entire day. And then our negativity is contagious for all the people around us. So don't worry, there is a solution. We need to hack our brain to focus more on the positive and reduce our negativity bias. How to do that? If you reflect every day on your highlight of the day, you will definitely boost your positivity and reduce your negativity bias. For example, when you close your laptop, I do that every day. When you close your laptop, you can just ask yourself, what was my highlight of the day? What made me happy today? What created positive emotions? What made me smile? What made me feel good at work? Try to do it every day. If you have kids, wife, whoever, try to ask your loved one as well at the dinner table or when they go to bed, hey, what was the best moment of the day? You will see the kind of conversation you have when you have kids, or even with your wife. She might impress you. And of course, do it as well with your colleagues, with your team member, with your employees. Ask them the highlight of the week, for example. If you have a meeting on a Thursday or on a Friday, start the meeting by asking them, what went well this week? What was your highlight of the week? This would definitely reduce their negativity bias, and it's a great way to start a meeting with positivity. And by the way, when you start a meeting with positivity, your meeting will be much more creative and more efficient. And please use technology for it. I always use Menti and Padlet. They are free tools you can use to get answers right away from a lot of people in the call or in the room. It's a great way to get answer quite fast. So really, I challenge you every week with your team and every day with yourself to reflect on your highlight of the day. It will definitely boost your positivity at work. And of course, there are many other ways to boost positivity in the workplace. Everything related to gratefulness, recognition, appreciation are powerful tools to boost positivity in the workplace. So of course, positivity is very important, but please don't take me wrong. I'm not saying that we should be happy every day and faking happiness and having a big smile all day long. That's toxic positivity. I'm not speaking about that. I'm trying to make you understand that we spend a lot of time at work, life can be short, and we better have more positive emotions than negative ones in general. But of course, there are days like, we are stressed, we are frustrated, and we have bad days, and that's okay. But again, the most important thing is to have more positive emotions than negative emotions in general. So leading with positivity doesn't mean that you can force someone to be positive and to be happy and to have a big smile. The same way you cannot force someone to be happy, you cannot expect for someone else to make you happy, right? Don't you think at the end that your happiness is your own responsibility? Your happiness is your own responsibility. You cannot wait for your boss, for your colleagues, for your employees to make you happy. Of course, they have a huge influence on you, but you are the starting point. You are in charge of your happiness. So you need to know what are the drivers of your happiness at work. What makes you happy at work? Because often we know exactly what we don't want, but we don't really take the time to reflect on what we need to be maybe just a bit happier. So take the time tonight, tomorrow, to reflect on your drivers of your happiness at work. We won't have time today, but if you want to know more about that, you can watch my TEDx. It was all about the drivers of happiness at work. I explained the whole process, and you can see as well how to find your drivers and what to do with them. If you are a leader, please ask your team to reflect on their drivers of their happiness at work. What do they need to be just a bit happier? You need to know your drivers, but you need to know your colleagues' drivers as well. You might understand much better how they work and what they need to feel good in the workplace. So your happiness is your own responsibility. And of course, each one of us is responsible for our happiness, but in a way, we cannot do everything by ourselves. To achieve sustainable results, we all need to be on board at all levels, leaders as well. Companies and leaders have a huge responsibility to create a safe and positive work environment. So let's have a look on how to take action on the team's level. We know from research that to create a positive work environment, we need a few things to boost. We need a few things to feel good, to feel empowered, and to be really happy at work. And I summarized all of these things in 2 pillars. It's the end of the day, so I don't want you to, to have too much content. But basically, I want you to leave with the things in mind that we need to boost our feeling of achievement and we need to boost our relationships at work. This will create a positive work environment. What do I mean quickly by feeling of achievement? Feeling of achievement, it's all about recognition, feedback, appreciation, knowing that your job is important, knowing the meaning of what you do and the purpose of what you are doing, seeing your learning curve, focusing on your strengths, all of that, it's a feeling of achievement. Relationship at work, of course, it's all about the sense of belonging, having a good communication with your team members, with your colleagues, showing empathy, trusting each other, having fun. All of that will boost relationships at work. I usually spend a lot of time with teams to reflect on what can they do within their team, in their industry, at their level, to boost the feeling of achievement and to boost relationship at work. We'll have a workshop on it, by the way, organized by swissT.net in June, and we are going to deep dive on that. So if you want to join us, we are going to really reflect on how can we implement happiness at work. We deep dive on that. And usually, like I said, I spend a lot of time in companies to boost and to help them to create a positive work environment. And I do have normally a 4-step strategy I'd like to share with you, so you can really go back to your team and start to think on how can you implement and create a positive work environment. The first step, very important, bring awareness. People need to understand why it's important to be happy, to be positive in the workplace. You need all people on board, or you need to try at least to have all of them on board. But that won't be possible without awareness. So bring awareness within your team. Then analyze the situation. Many ways to analyze if your team stands more on the positive side or on the negative side. Then, of course, take action. That's when we speak about the feeling of achievement and relationship at work. Many simple ways to boost the two. And the last one, very important, follow up for sustainability. Like everything in life, if we do not follow up, we won't achieve it. So we need to have a follow-up plan to make sure that when we create a positive work environment, the result is going to be sustainable. So that's my 4-step strategy I want you to share with you. Very important. And again, in June, we can deep dive on that if you join us. So at the end, remember that there is no magic formula. You need to try a few things. What's working for one team might not work for another team, because again, happiness is on the emotional level, not really rational, right? But please remember, and I will leave you with that, happiness is a skill. Happiness is a mindset. Happiness is an attitude. Happiness is definitely something we can all learn, and there is always a potential to improve or a potential to work on it, to maintain it. If you are a leader, team leader, project leader, please pay attention to your emotional energy. Emotions are contagious. Depending on how you feel, depending on how you behave, it will be contagious for the whole team around you. Negativity is contagious, so is positivity. So choose well your side. And I believe that a lot of situations could be handled better if we had more awareness on how important positivity and happiness are in the workplace. And our new way of working proved that we need to have trusting teams. But honestly, it's quite hard to trust when we don't feel good in our jobs, right? So we can all make a difference at work, and I strongly, strongly believe in this concept of positivity and happiness in the workplace because I see the impact every week in different teams, in different companies, and in different industries. So please understand that leading with more positivity, it's an innovative and modern way to drive business results through more engaged and motivated employees. And remember that happiness is a basis in our private life, but as well at work. So I hope I inspired you today to lead with more happiness, to create a positive work environment, to go back to your team and spread the positivity you can do. Thank you very much for your attention.